In the Clive Barker Podcast, longtime fans Ryan and Jose interview guests, bring you the news, and take deep dives into Barker-related stuff. In episode 474, we go over some appearance and release news from our Hellraiser Alum friends, a charity auction where you can get some cool Barker stuff, and is it time to get back into Clive Barker's Undying? This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram is a longtime friend of Clive and advocate of his art, but Don's unique and inspiring paintings are for sale, and over 50% of the proceeds go to the Arts and Medicine program at the Texas Children's Cancer Center. There's even a paver in Washington, D.C. representing Celebrate Imagination. We're thrilled that this worthy cause is sponsoring our podcast again this year, and we hope that you'll consider looking over his Pinterest page and commissioning a painting of your own. For commissions, Don requires no money down, and there will be no obligation on your part. You can also head over to the Etsy shop to buy one of his books, like A Chimney Sweep's Tale, Celebrate Imagination, or The Imaginaries. Follow the link in the show notes, or click on the side banner, and let's see what's new with Don Bertram today. On his Facebook page, you can find The Truth Behind It All, The Sun Watchers, and The Descendant, as far as his original paintings. Also, if you are a previous buyer of Don Bertram's, you'll have gotten a newsletter that said the following paintings might still be available: The Family, Puppy Love, Snoopy, Stargazer, The King, Puppy Love 2, and The Ascendant. Also, check out his videos going over the original painting The Bug Brothers by Clive Barker and his intro to the 35th anniversary screening of Hellraiser. Of course, the best way to support this podcast is through our Patreon at patreon.com/BarkerCast589. Our subscribers will get exclusive access to content not available anywhere else, like our Collector's Corner video series, rare Barker videos, and early behind-the-scenes stuff. Plus, backers in the $10 tier will also be able to choose an episode topic, and we might mail you something once in a while, depending on your location. Our supporters also get access to the exclusive channel in our Discord server. We'll be forever grateful if you consider helping us out and subscribing to our Patreon. So what's new on Patreon? Welcome, this is episode 474 of the Clive Barker Podcast, and good evening, Jose. How's it going?
Hey, Ryan, doing good.
Hey.
What are you up to? I see you're wearing your usual Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, and I'm wearing your 10-year anniversary T-shirt design.
That's right, with the Baphomet in there, which you can find at our TeePublic.
Yes, that's right, TeePublic. Right. Yeah,
I gotta go there.
Actually, this was what I wore to work, except it was buttoned up.
Yep.
So I just got back from work. But today's a news episode, and before we get to that, though, we want to do a shout out to our Patreon members. So thank you, David Anderson, Eric Vanderholt, Daniel Elvin, Amanda Stewart, Bradley Gartz, and our returning sponsor, Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. So thanks, Don.
That's right.
And thanks to all of our Patreon supporters. We really appreciate you guys. And Don Bertram actually just put out a video explaining these art photos from the 1990s, I think, from
Best Cutler Gallery Barker prints.
Yeah, thank you, from the Best Cutler Gallery. So check that out for our It's exclusive for now. It's exclusive for the Patreon members. So for this month, next month we'll release it for everybody else to be able to watch. But he kind of goes through all of the prints and explains them and where they came from and why they made them that way and stuff, and then you can see them. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's good content. I watched it a couple of times.
Yeah, there's a whole catalog. You got those Books of Blood covers as print. I think you got that one Axis, right? The one that's like the triptych.
Yeah.
You had that one, I think. Yeah.
Right. And there's a sketch from Hellraiser.
I see. It's Frank coming out of the wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
So those would be pretty neat to have.
Oh, yeah. This was from PC Pop Cult Products, I think. They came with that label on them, Best Gallery Pop Cult Products. Sorry about that. The logo is a little hard to read.
Yeah, so that must be the printer that they used.
Yeah. These were 11 by 14 inches. There's even one of the study that the cover proposal for The Thief of Always, where you see the house and then the house stairs kind of turn into a face of Mr. Hood. Don Bertram is a great art collector, and he's a great friend, and he's always able to talk a lot about prints and art and all the artists that he likes, which are quite a few.
So, getting into the news, and I mentioned this in our last episode, but not to you. I mentioned it by kind of inserting it in while I was editing. I discovered that Dark Regions Press had gone out of business earlier in the summer. And so that was kind of a shock, right? I mean, so you and I didn't really get to talk about that, but they were a sponsor of ours a couple of years back.
That's right. I remember that.
And so it seems like they folded really suddenly because all the forum posts that you see about it, people are talking about that they made pre-orders of projects that were out there that weren't ready to be printed yet, and suddenly they were wondering if they were going to get their money back or what was going to happen.
Right. So they put the business for sale, and this was like maybe 5 or 6 months ago.
It was in July, I think.
I think we found out about this because I had brought up in a previous news episode something like, hey, there's a Dark Regions Press book that I just found out about that's supposed to have a Clive Barker.
It was when we were talking about the Midnight Meat Train standalone Dark Regions Press edition.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And then you went to check on that, and that's when you found out. And then I looked into it, and I was like, oh, my God, people are really pissed at Dark Regions Press because they had pre-orders that apparently are not going to be filled, and people are complaining that they're not getting their money back. And I'm not sure what happened there.
In the show notes on to go buy a copy of that book if you can find it, and then I couldn't even get to their website because it's gone.
Right. So some people were really, really upset about that, and I'm not sure exactly what happened. Yeah, apparently on that link that you sent me, a guy is saying that he received bankruptcy papers from the owner of Dark Regions Press.
That's what I saw, yeah.
He was filing Chapter 7. And,
so I don't know if that
Chris
means
Morey.
that particular guy is entitled from the bankruptcy court to get their money back, or just to say, hey, it's bankruptcy, so too bad, creditor, you don't get anything.
Yeah. Well, that's another one that is gone, which is sad. Always sad to see small publishing presses go out of business. Yes. But, sorry about that, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Rest in peace, Dark Regions Press. Hopefully it could come back if someone buys that, but I'm not sure what the plans are at this moment.
Yeah. So, speaking of Clive Barker stuff, there was a charity auction on the Clive Barker Art Owners Facebook group. That's right. And I think it's still ongoing, right? It's for the rest of next week. And they're selling, there's some Clive Barker prints and I think original sketches. And like a Candyman prop from the Candyman 2022 movie.
Wow.
Signed photo of Clive Barker. There's the Nightbreed Director's Cut, the limited edition one.
Yeah, the box with the little booklet by Phil and Sarah, and then the theatrical cut and the director's cut limited edition Blu-rays.
And there was a poster that fooled me. I bid on it, but then I retracted it. This Rawhead Rex Marvel Comics cover poster. I thought this was like a real Marvel comic that I'd never seen before, so I started bidding on it. And then it's like, no, it's like somebody made a fan mock-up poster to make it look like a comic book that existed in 1986.
That's right. They described that as the Rawhead Rex print from Vile Consumption, approximately 19 inches by 13. That's pretty big. And it's got Rawhead wearing like his leather digs, and he's like holding up the logo that says Rawhead Rex made out of stone. And it says Rawhead Rex will kill everyone.
Yeah. It looks cool, and I'm like, oh man, where did I miss this comic? And I put in a bid, and then I was like, oh, it's a poster, and it's like a mock-up, so I didn't get it. They also have the Rawhead Rex movie poster, which is cool.
I've been a little disconnected from Clive Barker stuff, so this episode today was a good way for me to catch up on things I might have missed.
They've got a Hellraiser Judgment autographed Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And an autographed picture of Paul T. Taylor as Pinhead. And another Clive Barker sketch. And a Candyman prop, from the 2022 Candyman movie. And it's like a box of matches.
A lot of interesting stuff. I'm actually going through it right now as well. I see that they also have a movie poster for Rawhead Rex, which I might bid on. I find this a little funny that some people are bidding like $1 on some of these things, and I'm like, okay, guys, at least make an effort.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is that this is kind of I don't know if he's sharing this anywhere else. He couldn't, right? Because because example, how could people bid against each other if it was in a different group? So then the problem there is that this is a really limited pool of people, and they're Clive Barker art collectors.
Sure. So a lot of these people will have a lot of that stuff already, except for the sketches, which are always one of a kind. That's probably what's attracting more people.
The Candyman prop they may not have, and then the other stuff is not all Clive Barker art, so they may not be interested in it.
Right.
So I don't know if this is... It's a good opportunity for anybody out there that wants to buy this stuff that probably you'll get it for cheap. One thing that was kind of a concern to me is that he was talking about shipping to the continental United States, which a lot of times people say that, and they lump Alaska in there saying that Alaska is not on the same continent as the rest of the country, and it's not true. I mean, we're still in North America. But I tell people, hey, well, what continent do you think I'm on? And they say, well, contiguous United States then.
That's kind of a cop-out. I get upset when people try to lump Alaska into like an afterthought of the United States. It's like you said in one of the comments you did recently, it's like if you broke up Alaska in half, Texas would still be the third largest state. And Texas is pretty big.
Yeah. Well, and there was something else where I was trying to buy something somewhere, and I had to give up because it kept saying, when I entered in my address, it kept saying, will not ship to a foreign country.
That's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. That's preposterous. But I'm looking through all the stuff that you have here that you linked me to, because I was at the Clive Barker Art Owners Group yesterday, and I saw these posts by Joshua Warfel, who's, I think, putting up those items for sale. And I was like, all of a sudden I saw people putting amounts underneath it. I was like, wait, is the Clive Barker Art Owners Group now claim group, or are we doing auctions now? And then, of course, I saw what you sent me, and I was like, oh, it is an auction. Yeah. So, you see a lot of repeat names. Marcus, for example, is bidding on some stuff. Right. And, but I'm a little embarrassed to overbid on people that I know, So
and there's someone a nice that I know is already... of Weave World that has a sketch of like a skull on it with his signature. All good stuff. Which the picture just shows the sketch, so you don't really realize when you're just looking at that photo that it's actually a hardcover of Weave World, the U.S. edition.
And the prop from Candyman apparently is a pack of prop matches from the Candyman remake.
Yeah,
where it's showing the logo.
Room, Chicago.
Yeah. So I don't even remember seeing these matches being used.
It might be that art gallery or something that he was... I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think that's probably it. Or sometimes a little prop that's just on a table somewhere and we don't even realize it's a prop. Yeah, I'm going to go through this and see if I have anything that's not bid yet. There's a particularly amazing sketch, which is a werewolf torturing a naked man. And that one's up at $100 right now, but that looks really good.
Oh, yeah.
That is something I would love.
The Mickey Mouse one, the one with Mickey Mouse in the hallway, that's kind of like a zombie-looking Mickey Mouse. It actually, if you look in the comments, it has a reverse side. That's like almost like a Rawhead Rex rough sketch.
Yeah, it's 2-in-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good stuff there. You got signed photos. Yeah. You got a sketch that shows the old man of Ifrit resurrected. Yeah. The last giant buried with his family. And then it shows, if you're familiar with Aberrat, of course, there's the island of Ifrit. Apparently there's a giant head, and he drew it with his eyes open and his mouth open. Huh. I wondered. I'm really even more excited for Aberrat 4.
Right.
I want to see what happens because giants waking up. That's cool.
So I thought this was kind of cool, and the Nightbreed box set, the original one from Scream Factory, is number 27 out of 10,000. So that's a pretty low number. I'm having trouble remembering what my number was now.
I think I remember at one point we were asking people on Occupy Medium to post their numbers so we could find out who owns what.
Yeah, we had a spreadsheet.
That's right.
So I'm number 148.
Well, I got mine right here.
All right.
Point at it. My number is 786 out of 10,000.
Okay.
So I dropped the ball on that.
Yeah. You waited an extra hour or something, probably.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I think I bought that on the same day that it came out, but I bought it after work. So I got the 786 set. Anyway, that's the luck of the draw. I don't really care about numbers like that, but I just like to have it. But it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
So that Weave World would be a really good one for our listeners. Anybody that is interested in a hardcover autographed version of Weave World with a sketch in it, and it's not personalized, I would totally get that if I didn't already have a signed copy of Weave World.
Right, and now it's time to mention what charity this is helping, because it is helping the Trevor Project. That helps support LGBTQ plus young people who need support
to end suicide.
This helps advocate against any anti-LGBTQ plus laws. It helps connect LGBTQ plus peers through Trevor Space, a safe space social networking site, and conducts original research to capture the unique experiences of young LGBTQ plus people. So you can give a monthly donation, or you can choose to bid in this auction that we have going on at the Clive Barker Art Owners Group. I think it's started by Joshua Warfelt.
Yeah. So if you have a Facebook account, we've got the link in the show notes, so you can go straight to it. And it looks like a lot of these things have bids, and some of them don't. Some of them are very low bids. So it's worth checking it out.
I saw this poster that someone bid $1, and then a few minutes later they came back and said $2. Is this a real bid? Come on. What are you doing?
Oh, and Eduardo Texidor Jr., he's been a past contributor of ours. He bid on the Nightbreed Director's Cut bundle for $20. It's at $20 now. Oh no, $25. Well, somebody else outbid him. Lonnie Reggie or Lonnie.
You know where it is. Go there, and I think it's closed. It's private to that particular group.
Yeah.
It is a group that has 1,600 members. So you mentioned a small pool. I mean, considering the rest of the fans that are out there, it is a small pool, but it's a pretty decent number of people, 1,600 people in the group. So,
but it's not a general Clive Barker group. It's a kind of a really specific one, for art collectors. So, I guess I'll be curious to see how many of these people are interested in other things that aren't original Clive Barker art. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, it could be a chance to get something as a good deal and help out a charity. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So next up, there's a podcast episode, an interview with Peter Atkins, Wishmaster special with writer Peter Atkins from Citizen Frame, a movie review podcast.
Yeah, so Peter Atkins, who said he didn't have enough time to appear on our podcast.
Well, you don't know when this was recorded, right?
Yeah. I'm just giving you, if you're listening, Pete, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
But we do want you to come back at some point when you're ready.
We do have Ryan here, who's flash fast editor, who can knock out an episode in the same day that we record it. Other podcasts are not that efficient. So, other places like, I remember when our buddy Ed Martinez was in one of those 80s podcasts. I think he recorded that, and it was only up a few weeks later. So, that's the thing. Some people keep these on the can.
If we didn't have other full-time jobs, we would probably be banking more episodes and releasing them later too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But our process, just a sort of a peek behind the curtain of our process is kind of like sometimes it gets to Wednesday or Thursday and we're like, what are we going to do for this weekend? And then we put together the show notes really quick in those couple of days leading up to it. And, and then we do it. Or if it's something that we have to prepare for by reading a book or watching a movie or something, then we try to give a few more days, notice to prepare. But that's really kind of about it. And if it's that's why we don't do as many interviews as we used to, is because we need more notice to be able to do that and to study up on the things that these people have done besides Barker related stuff, so that we can talk about a broader range of things.
Of course,
so those take time.
And you also have a lot on your plate. Your job takes up a lot of time. Sometimes you have to do extracurricular stuff, like going to court sessions and stuff for your work. And you have a family life and a child. So I work from home, but also I have my own issues, and I have my own things I have to deal with. I have a very active concert schedule that I like to go to.
I've noticed that's kind of been the new thing now. You get to go to a lot of... I'm kind of jealous that you get to go to all these cool concerts. The last one was like Goblin, right?
Yeah, it was Claudio Simonetti's Goblin, and it was this anthology tour they're on. It's just a mile up the road. So it's this place called the Grog Shop. And we actually weren't going to go to that because, we're trying to save money for Christmas, but we had that Black Friday thing text come up, and it was like, hey, if you want to get this, it's 2-for-1 tickets for Goblin. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess now we can. So that was fun.
The most recent concert tickets I bought are for August of 2025.
Oh yeah? What are you watching?
Weird Al's going to be coming to Anchorage well, not Anchorage, but it's a suburb of Anchorage.
That's great.
To the State Fair down there. So it's a 6-hour drive, a 300-mile drive.
Oh my God, 6 hour.
Yeah.
And me saying that my concert was just a mile up the road.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But it'll be worth it. It'll be fun. It's only an hour to fly though. So I don't know if I want to do that or if I want to drive down. And I got the VIP backstage pass thing or whatever to go talk.
Oh, sweet.
I've never done that before. I always used to try to hang out, outside of the venues to catch the artists as they were trying to get on their buses. Yeah. But now there's this whole extra thing where you can get in a line and have them sign things and take pictures with them. Yeah.
I just found out while you were talking. Weird Al is going to be in Cuyahoga Falls, not too far from me, at the Blossom Music Center. And then he's going to be in Columbus, Ohio. That's a little far. Wow. But, Blossom is kind of close. That's going to be September 13th of next year. Huh.
Wow.
That's cool. I might end up watching that, too.
I don't think Weird Al's ever come to Alaska before. So this is that's a first time. Concerts that I've seen here, I think there's only maybe 3. Because most of the artists I'm interested in have never come here. So I've seen Ozzy Osbourne once, and that was part of an Asia tour. He just stopped here on the way to Asia. And I've seen Megadeth. Oh, shoot. Maybe that's it.
In Alaska.
Yeah. I've flown out to go to a lot of concerts, but but in Alaska, I think I've only seen 2.
And, not in Fairbanks, right? You had to travel to
those
place.
Ones were in Fairbanks. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the Goblin concert was amazing. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Because not only are they playing the tracks from all the soundtracks for the movies that he's composed, but then they also did kind of a little medley at the end where they're also playing their renditions of Halloween, from Carpenter. And
oh, really?
And he made a medley where he mixed together Halloween with The Exorcist, because they both have that little piano thing, I think
isn't the Exorcist theme is really just isn't it an old classical music song that they kind of repurposed for the
Tubular Bells?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from that album Tubular Bells. Mike Oldfield? I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, Mike Oldfield.
I thought it was kind of like public domain, old classical music, because even in Fairbanks, there's a central like clock tower sort of a thing, and it plays that song sometimes, which is really weird.
Well, that came from the Tubular Bells album, which probably came out in the 70s by Mike Oldfield. I remember that being on the radio and being kind of a hit in Europe, Tubular Bells. I've listened to the whole album. And that song is from that album.
We were on Peter Atkins being on a podcast. I think that's where we had left it. But yeah, right. So that's something cool to check out and see about Wishmaster. Which the Wishmaster movie is really it's really got a sort of an all-star cast of horror movie people, including people from Barker movies, right? Tony Todd.
That's right.
Yeah, I haven't seen Wishmaster in a while. I want to go back to it.
It's from the mid '90s were like an amazing time for horror fans. That was the golden age for me of going to the video store and picking up 4 or 5 blockbuster movies or mom and pop, whatever you guys used to go to. I had all sorts of like different stores that I used to get, but the 90s were crazy. There was huge amounts of horror movies to watch, and they weren't just sequels. There were like a lot of stuff was coming out, like crazy movies that now are a little obscure, but back then they were just coming out with so many movies in the mid 90s. And Wishmaster has that feel of like every time I watch it, it's like it's back on a Wednesday night or a Thursday or a Friday. And I'm sitting with my friends in my parents' couch and we're like turning off the light and making popcorn and like, all right, let's watch this movie.
Right.
I miss those days.
Yeah, it's true. And Redbox, right, is not a good alternative to a video store.
Well, Redbox went bankrupt a while ago.
So they're not even around anymore?
Right.
Okay. I
think if you see any... I don't know if their machines are still out there, but but they went bankrupt, I think. So I think those should be removed by now.
Yeah, and so it's kind of a bummer. Just the idea that was the alternative for video stores going away was this crappy vending machine that you could rent movies from. Yep.
And usually be inside a Walmart or inside a grocery store or something like that. That's why I got my own little video store here in the basement.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why. And I made sure to get shelves that would be taller than me so I can look up at the movies, because that's what I used to like in the mom and pop stores would be you go in there's a guy with a counter, he's smoking, and there's like 3 walls covered in tapes, And,
I don't think that the video stores in the U.S. had people smoking.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, I mean, people smoked in restaurants, before they stopped that.
Yeah.
So it was this old guy always smoking a cigar, being like, hey, I got a new horror movie. Look, I've got this Reanimator thing. And I'd be like, oh, Reanimator. Cool. Okay, yeah. And there'd be these standees and stuff, cardboard standees. Yeah. And usually had a little tube TV on the counter that would be playing like those screener tapes that have like nothing but trailers for the movies that are coming out for rentals.
Yeah.
No, good. I just missed that. I used to go to this one. It was this old man, and it was called Playhouse. I think Playhouse must have been a chain. I think Playhouse video stores, and that's not there anymore. That closed down in the '90s when the big Blockbuster opened up.
Yeah, everybody feels sorry for Blockbuster, but they ruined a lot of video stores' careers. They put a lot of video stores out of business when those things came around.
And they didn't have the section in the back behind the bead curtain with all the skinny flicks. Yeah.
Well, and I had also heard that they had edited versions of movies, like that they had. And I don't know that that's necessary. Yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily true, but I had heard that they had done their own. That there were that they made special editions of movies for Blockbuster to censor out more stuff than maybe like it's similar to airplane movies or made for TV movies.
Right. Well, I don't know. Maybe in America they did that for some parts of, for some blockbuster parts. In Portugal, we didn't even have TV versions of movies. They would just play the movie that you would get on the DVD, like the whole thing on TV. Yeah.
They didn't, yeah.
I don't think that we, on Portuguese TV, I don't think they censor the movies. Yeah, like...
They just play it later at night or something so that hopefully kids aren't watching it.
Sure. I guess. I'm not sure why they didn't do that, but yeah, I remember watching those. And when I came to the U.S., I was really very surprised to see that American films in America usually are chopped to bits in TV. And, there's scenes missing. There's like alternate lines dubbed in for when someone swears, or they just remove the swear outright.
I'm going to shove that so far up your nose that you'll be sneezing for a week.
I'm tired of these Monkey-Fightin Snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. That's from Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Because in the U.S. you have swear words that they can't have, and certain kinds of violence that they can't have, and any kind of sexual stuff they can't have.
I think if there was raunchy stuff, I think they would play the movies on TV after 10 p.m. or after 9 p.m. or whatever it was. American curse words weren't really a concern in Portugal. I mean, they would just have captions. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess they kind of fell over the wayside. People didn't care so much about that.
Well, what about television programs in Portuguese? I mean, did they worry about like swearing and stuff?
They didn't curse on TV, right? That's right. Unless it was a live interview in the street and someone said something that they couldn't immediately cut out. But for movies, it was okay,
In Portugal, they were mostly subtitled, not dubbed.
Yeah, unless it's for kids, then kids' stuff would be dubbed because kids can't read. But
yeah, or they can't read fast enough.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. That's way better. There's a lot of European countries that just dub everything.
Oh hell yeah! France, Italy, Germany. Those have a big dub market. Back in the day, even the DVDs from I keep bringing this up, but I had the Nightbreed DVD from Italy.
Yeah,
which in Italy it's called.
It was called Cabal, right? Yeah,
and it is dubbed in Italian, and there's no American track. Yeah. So the bare bones DVDs in Italy or France, they would just have the dubbed version, but sometimes they wouldn't bother to put in the original American, the English version. Yeah. So,
or sometimes they wouldn't get the rights to the English tracks. I think Sony Pictures bought all these Godzilla movies back in the in the 90s, and the videotapes only had English dubs, and then when they swapped them over to DVDs, they still only had English dubbing because they didn't have the audio rights to the original to the Japanese audio tracks.
So that's a real thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's strange.
Surprising and strange, but nowadays I'm more happier with the fact that other countries that are putting out Clive Barker movies, now they also add the English tracks, right? So there's a lot of interesting packages out there, unless we're talking about books, because books are still translated, of course, those Brazilian editions of the Books of Blood or the Scarlet Gospels that have those wonderful covers. They are, however, in Portuguese. For me, not a problem, but for an American guy who doesn't know Portuguese, all you can do is look at the book and the cover and be like, oh, this is an awesome edition, but I can't read it.
Yeah, and there are people out there that collect. I just saw somebody on Reddit that was saying, here's my collection of Clive Barker International releases. And they had all of these, cool covers that you don't see all the time of Barker books. And like Maureen, who is a friend of ours, right? She collects the Aberrat books in Japanese. And those look really cool. They have different covers.
I never asked her if she knows Japanese, but those are pretty covers. They are different, and they're very, very cool. If you're a completist, of course, I never really got that urge to buy international releases. I remember being in Germany a few times, and every time I go to a bookstore, I see what do they got from Clive Barker. Do they have any books? And they had books. They had Clive Barker books and audio books and stuff, but it's all in German, so I don't know how to read German. So I was torn between my desire to buy it and my inner voice saying, "Why are you buying it? You can't read it. It's just going to be in a shelf." So
right, Der Weaven Worlden.
What do they call Weaveworld in Germany? It has a different name, I think.
Yeah.
For example, Weaveworld in Italy is called Il Mondo in uno tappeto, which means the world in a carpet.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some Serbian paperback, Weaveworld French paperback.
Wow.
I know, for example, in France, Hellraiser is called Les Écorchés, which means the skinned.
Highlighting a part of the story that's not typically the main topic, I guess. Right, the idea of Frank putting on his brother's skin.
True, yeah, and obviously Julia being skinned as well in the movie. I guess they focused on that. But sometimes certain titles are not easy to translate to other languages, right? Hellraiser, how are you going to translate Hellraiser in a different language? You're going to say, "Oh,
the person who brought hell to Earth," or yeah.
In Spain they call those who bring hell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I guess they're referring to the Cenobites. In Portugal, it was called Damned Fire, and it loosely translated back to English. The Portuguese title is Fogo Maldito, which means cursed fire. So I guess it's kind of like close to Hellraiser, but not really that close. You know?
Is fire a synonym for like hell, kind of like Inferno, or is it not related? No, I guess they're referring that. They're kind of referring kind of like a hellish kind of fire, damned, cursed fire, damned fire. Yeah, like a hellish fire. Yeah. I mean, this now brings me back to a memory about talking to Stephen Jones about their idea for a Hellraiser sequel that was called Hellfire. That would have been cool. Right, yeah.
And that would literally translate to Portuguese as infernal fire or hellish fire, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been cool. But anyway, I'm making free associations here, and people are probably like, hey, there's Joe ranting again.
It's all right. That's part of what they say. They know that's what they're signing on for is us rambling a little bit. But speaking of Hellraiser, Barbie Wilde, female Cenobite in Hellraiser 2, was on the cover of Delirium Magazine, and you can buy. And you've put a link in the show notes where people can buy it also.
Yes, so I think this magazine. Belongs to Full Moon, the movie company. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Sorry, I should have had.
And this
that
is an
pulled up
Instagram
here.
link, so it took me a little bit to log in here, but it's coming up right now.
And I added also the link to purchase it at the Full Moon Horror website. It's Delirium Magazine number 39. It's $12.
There we go.
And it says in the cover, it's got the awesome female Cenobite cover, and it says Sex, Sin, and Cenobites. Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Barbie Wilde on acting, writing, and tearing souls apart.
Oh, wow. So it's like a major interview, and she's on the cover. And that's kind of the whole topic of the magazine almost. That's
I'm
really
probably
cool.
going to order that for $12. I'm going to order that right after we record this because, I just found the link to buy it when I was preparing for this episode.
Yeah, I haven't heard of Delirium Magazine before, but it looks like they've got some other ones down there at the bottom.
Yeah,
pretty neat.
Yep,
looks like a kind of a horror specialty magazine.
Yeah, it's always great to see our favorite Cenobite actors, get more interviews and. Simon Bamford has now also done more stuff in terms of film appearances, and Nicholas Vince has got some stuff. Now is the good time. Now that we're getting into December, now is the great time, and this is the way I'm trying to segue into that. Nicholas Vince got another interview. Looks like he was interviewed for Big Fat Cult.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Yeah. He was interviewed by a guy called Chris from Big Fat Cult about I Am Monsters, which is, of course, his one-man show that he ultimately turned into a video release.
Yeah, I have that now. Actually, that might be something we could cover at some point in the future.
Yeah, I haven't bought it yet, but I also added to the show notes a place where you can buy that in Blu-ray, a limited collector's edition. I think you can buy it personalized or just signed without personalization. And it's actually not that expensive. It's like $24.99 Great Britain pounds. Okay, so not dollars, maybe a little more than $24.99. So it might be
$30-something dollars, maybe.
Yeah. This one says it's only available for shipping within the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, and Australia. But yeah, the limited edition of 500 I Am Monsters comes with lobby cards, a region-free Blu-ray, a booklet, a hand-numbered slipcover, a signed sleeve, all the bells and whistles that you're used to seeing for these cool releases. And it's from one of our favorite actors. So
yeah. And I got one. He announced this a little while back, and so I got one signed by him.
I'm probably going to get one dedicated to me, too.
Yeah.
And he's also selling on his website some signed Chatterer Funkos. You can find that. It's limited stock. As I say this, I'm actually should check to see if it's still available. Yep, still available. So it says limited edition Funko Pop Chatterer comes in a box with a sticker saying special edition. As a dedication field is mandatory. If you want just an autograph, please write NA in the field. Excellent.
And he's also got copies of What Monsters Do and Other People's Darkness, books that we covered years back when those came out.
Yeah, and I want to thank one of our listeners who gave me the lowdown on what this looks like, because I've seen the little Funko for Chatterer. Usually it just shows up as a stock image just of the Funko itself. I'm not particularly a Funko Pop collector. I've got that Hellraiser one right there with Pinhead. That's the only Hellraiser Funko I have. And then I got maybe 3 more Funkos total from other characters, other movies and stuff. So I've always wondered about that Chatterer, but it's kind of costly every time I see it. So maybe now that I know that Nico is signing them, maybe that will be the little push I need to get this Funko.
Yeah. For 75 Great Britain pounds.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah.
But hey, it's straight from the man himself. Straight from the big man himself. It'll make your teeth chatter.
Right. We did a news episode 2 episodes back. Tony Todd had passed away, and he was mentioned on Arrow Video, and Del Howison from Dark Delicacies also mentioned. Today as we're recording this, which is Friday the 6th of December, would have been Tony Todd's 70th birthday.
Quick correction. It was 2 days ago. Sorry.
Was it?
I just wanted to correct. Yeah.
Because
he was born...
Del put it on for today, I think.
Huh. Because Arrow Video posted
today
that
would have
2
been
days
Tony
ago.
Todd's 70th birthday, and that was 13 hours ago he posted that. So
all right.
At 6 o'clock in the morning today.
No, I don't know that by heart. It says here that he was born on December 4th, 1954. So I guess Del was just a little slower on that. Okay. Arrow Video posted that on December 4th. It was born on this day, earning his place in the hearts of horror fans over countless chilling performances. Today we remember the late cinema icon, Tony Todd. Which one of his roles is your favorite? I'd go with Candyman, of course. I'm biased. But also my top 2 is, the heavy guy in The Crow.
Oh, for me, it's Night of the Living Dead 1990, for sure. Yeah, and Candyman.
Yeah. Good choices.
Yeah.
There are no wrong choices when it comes to seeing movies with Tony Todd.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, I really like his. We talked about this before, but in Baldur's Gate 3, him as Merkel, the Lord of Bones.
Yeah. It's sad, but we still have all the memories. We still have all the movies. And I hope
that kind of hit everybody by surprise. I mean, he might have known it was coming. Maybe he had medical issues, that he knew about, but that caught us all by surprise that happened all of a sudden. Nobody was really thinking about, he's old, and he wasn't that old.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Trying to switch to a more lighter side. Clive Barker's Undying. is on sale at GOG, good old game, for $5.99.
Yeah,
so
the Windows version, I think, not the Mac version.
Yeah, I think it's the Windows version. You're right.
Yeah, I played it, and it's nice to go back to it. Turn the settings all the way up.
The good thing about GOG is that they sell you the game, and then it already comes compatible with Windows 10. So you can just install it, double-click the icon, and it'll just play on your Windows 10 machine.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I mean, I have Parallels, so I run Windows on my Mac so that I can run games like that.
And you can play as Patrick Galloway, a soldier from the Great War, a specialist in abolishing evil abominations.
Yep, coming to help out his friend who sent him a letter like 6 months ago saying he was in trouble.
You know, I haven't finished that game yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I played it all the way to like killing one or two of the family, but then there's a part that I just can't find out what I need to do. I need to go through a walkthrough.
I would just look things up on the internet.
Yeah, I need to. I was trying to find it out on my own, but I might get a walkthrough.
Life is too short to just keep bumping into a wall over and over again.
Yeah, when you have to work, when you're not a teenager playing on your computer that only has to worry about school, it's hard to... that's one of the things that I think games need to respect our time a little bit. I don't like games that make you needlessly go around doing quests like go get 10 of this or kill 5 of that. Like at least make it like something interesting and make it something that I don't have to like walk all the way across the map to go do something.
And how about every time you kill a rat, there's like a 2% chance that you're going to get one of the pelts that you need.
Yeah.
So you have to kill 800,000 rats to fulfill some quest.
I can't put 100 hours on a game anymore. It's just not feasible. But yeah, so Undying, which is, Clive Barker voices one character in this movie. Of course. Yeah.
The friend that was dying, that Patrick Galloway was coming to visit, is voiced by Clive Barker.
That's right. With his, dulcet, raspy tones.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you're thinking about playing this game or finding out what this was like back in the day, $5.99, you can install it on your Windows 10 machine, and you can just run around the Covenant Mansion killing werewolves and scrying invisible priests that will beat you up with sticks.
Even if you buy a physical version of the game on Mac or on Windows, you're not going to be able to run it on a current machine. You need an old computer to run it. So this, you can still collect it that way, but this is really the only easy way to play it right now.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
I've seen playthroughs of the whole game, so I know what it's like when it's over. There might be some extras that come with this.
Did you ever get the Tibetan war cannon?
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Head. Yeah. Isn't there also a spell where you start focusing and a fire skull comes up, and then if you try to amplify it, you get like 3 different skulls, and then it just launches and blows all the characters in front of it. That's cool too.
Yeah.
I've been. I recently bought Doom 1 and 2 from Bethesda, and Doom 2 comes now with RTX ray tracing, so the lighting is completely revamped for that Doom 2.
Oh wow!
And I've also bought recently from GOG Alone in the Dark 1, 2, and 3 because I had finished the first one. I played the second one, but I never finished it. And so recently
I thought
they were
only the first one was good, right? Isn't that what it was?
Since I never really played the second one all the way through, it just starts. To me, it's one of those games where it just frustrated me because in the beginning you start outside of the house and you have to make it into the house, and then you have to go through this maze. And I just kept dying, and this was way back in the '90s, early '90s. So I kind of gave up on that. But the first one was a lot of fun. I love the first one.
I used to watch all my friends who had Windows machines play that game. Back in the 90s, I had a Commodore Amiga. So
yeah, Infogrames was the company that made Alone in the Dark, and that was a French company. Little trivia: Infogrames bought Atari. So now,
a lot of people have bought Ataris. Is that the current owner?
I might be. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But, yeah, you're right. A lot of people have bought Atari. That started out in Sunnyvale, actually, not far from where I used to live in California.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to have a T-shirt that said Atari, Sunnyvale, California.
You can buy consoles now that will play Atari cartridges. So I bought an Atari 2600 Plus that can also play Atari 7800 games. So it can play 2600 games and 7800 games. I haven't taken it out of the box yet because I want to set it up in the studio.
That's interesting because a pop-up shop opened up here not too far from my house where there's a box full of like Atari 2600 cartridges, and I think they're selling for cheap. I didn't look into it, but I can go there and check out and see what cartridges they have, and if you're interested, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm interested in Atari games. I've got a big stack of them, and I've been gradually buying like plastic cases that look like the old cardboard boxes for them. To make them look nice on the shelf, but I've only been able to do like a quarter of them that way because it gets kind of expensive. The cases cost more than the games.
Oh yeah, I've seen that some people on Etsy make labels for games that the labels have been damaged or ripped.
Yeah.
So there's a whole market for that retro game nostalgia thing. So that's fun. I'll go there this weekend. I'll see what games they have for the 2600. I just never had any interest in 2600 games because they were a little too simple for me. And I was
they are super simple. That was my first console was the 2600.
Yeah.
And on a black and white TV in my closet.
All right. I'll let you know. So I think that's all the news that we found today.
Yeah.
And what's coming up next?
Well, whenever Pete's ready, we'll do the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment Disc 4. And then Collector's Corner, this was like a Patreon thing that you and I are going to do at some point. We're going to talk about our Nightbreed collections.
Right, right.
Jericho Squad 77 is coming up in the next couple of weeks. And we're talking to people about interviews, and I don't want to give it away yet just in case they can't do it. But we've got like 3 of them that we're talking to right now.
Yep.
And
then
the very next thing, the Book Club of Blood. We're returning to the Book Club of Blood with the Yattering and Jack. So just in time for Christmas, right? The timing was really good on this because it's a Christmas time Books of Blood story, and it happens to be the next one on our list.
I'm stoked for that. It's a super fun story, and there's that Tales from the Dark Side special.
Yes.
With what's the name of that actor? Fundacaro.
Yeah, Phil, I think Fundacaro, and I got to meet him. I have a picture with him that I took at Texas Frightmare weekend.
I wish there had been more adaptations of Clive Barker stories for TV because that one is so much fun.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's the Body Politic was done for Quicksilver Highway. And that's kind of it for TV adaptations.
Jack Polo is played by Anthony Carbone. So
Que sera, sera.
Wasn't Phil Fundacaro also briefly in Lord of Illusions as a police photographer in front of the Palm Reader? I think it might have been him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
So more stuff to come, and I am finishing the Hellraiser Virtual Dreams game article. I was talking to you a little bit before we started recording, and I'm working on it right now, and I want to put it out this weekend. So that's on me. I promise I will finish this, and I will put it out, and then I can go back to writing about the Scare Bears.
Right. Well, and when you're waiting, if you're waiting for that, you can also look at Don Bertram's video on Patreon too, on those 1990s prints.
It's great content, and Don Bertram is a natural in front of the camera. So good job, Don.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that Hellraiser because I haven't really taken a deep dive. We never really covered that particular Hellraiser game in depth. I think we did a video games episode once, but we didn't. I think we just said a little blurb that it was a game that was never made, and I think that was kind of probably it.
Right. We never really did a deep dive, and I'm kind of working on that now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today. And I want to thank you guys for being here with us and listening to our show. I hope you guys have a great weekend.
And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed. You can find the Clive Barker Podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. You can chat with us on our Facebook BarkerCast listeners group, our Facebook page, Twitter, or our Discord server. The best way to support us is to buy our book, The BarkerCast Interviews, Occupy Midian, available in hardcover on Amazon and ebook on Amazon and Apple Books. Fundraiser 10 is all about Patreon this year. Become a patron to get access to exclusive stuff, pick an episode topic, and maybe even get cool stuff in the mail. You can also buy a t-shirt on our TeePublic store. Go to teepublic.com and search for BarkerCast. Leave a message for us using the SpeakPipe link on our blog. Opening and ending music generously provided by Ray Norrish.
Thanks for listening.